All right. Doug, can we our screen? Hey, good morning, everybody. I get to be a talk show host today. I don't know what this is. This is like Oprah and the Steve Harvey show or whatever it is. That we won't go to like Maury Povich or that kind
No,
of stuff
no,
or anything.
we're not doing more
Um,
COVID.
but I'm so excited, guys. I'm here with Leigh Hanisee. Am I saying that right too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hannessy.
Hanisee, Leigh
Hannessy.
Hanisee. We met. I would say, but what now? It's been about 6 months or so.
Back in December or November,
Yeah,
October.
October. So a little bit more than 6 months. Leah is one of our agents here at Keller Williams Palos Verde. She's also an agent working with Karen Anderson and team and the Prestige Real Estate team. And they've been at KW for quite some time. And we are actually in their office on Western Avenue in RPV. We just had a grand opening here yesterday. So we were partying pretty hard all night till 6 p.m. Yeah. So we're recovering from that crazy party that we had. And we're in their little
Yeah, we got
podcast
our little,
section.
we're using it. Yay.
Yeah, so we get to do it. But I'm excited that Lee is here. So we'll focus on the. It's so hard not to focus
I
on the
know. We'll
monitor,
look
right?
over there.
Um, well, I mean, for those of you that don't know who you are, like, who is Lee? And when I say that, I know that's such a broad question. I mean, what are the hats that you're wearing? Because usually real estate agents, they're wearing multiple hats, whether it's in business, outside of business. Tell us about all the hats that you're wearing and what you do.
Well, on a personal level, I am a mom. I have three adult kids who still live at home with me, so I'm never alone. Some of you might appreciate that. And I work a lot. And I invited my kids last night because my kids see me working a lot
Yeah.
and they know I hustle a lot. And so it was nice to just bring them and let them see, like, look what we've, look where we're at now,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and make them a part of it. And I actually get my kids to help me with stuff sometimes too. That's a great thing about having older kids is I make them, help with marketing or signs, or we had one of them helping us assemble furniture here. So I put them to work, and aside from that, my hobby is the gym, and that's my big de-stressor. And I probably try to work. I used to work out consistently 5 days a week. Now, when we get busy, it goes down to like three or four. But that's an integral part of me. I don't always talk to people about it, but it's a great, for me, it's a great stress reliever and it balances me. And you can go in there and your mind kind of shuts off and you just focus on working out. And that's what I enjoy.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, like mucho props to any mom that's balancing kids, work life, business life, and all that stuff. But and now that they're adults, it's probably a lot
It's a
different.
lot different, yeah.
What was it like when they were kids, when they were younger?
When
How
they
was
were
that
younger, it
balance?
was harder. And I didn't work as much because your kids need you more and you have to go do morning drop off and you got to do afternoon pickup. But even when they were still in middle school, I probably didn't work as much. When they were in high school, I worked more and they would take the bus home. I think I'd drop them off or their dad would pick them up. But I was in the office every day still because for me, if I try, I know for me, not everybody, but if I try to work at home, I'm going to go walk the dog. I'm going to go, let me throw a load of laundry in.
Yeah.
Let me go clean this room right now, and I wouldn't focus as much as when I separate myself and I go into the office, then I'm like, okay, I'm focused on business and I don't have to worry about those things in the house right now. So it made more sense for me. And our whole team works that way. Karen's in here all the time and we're in the office because that's where we function best in that work mode, pretty much.
Well, I mean, I think one thing that a lot of parents, moms and dads, will struggle with that I see is whether you want to call it creating boundaries or separating the two. Like, do you find that, have you found that to be important?
It is. I remember when my kids were younger, it'd be probably one of the biggest obstacles you can face is you get a call from a client and your kids want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And they will interrupt you and they'll be like, Mom, 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 Mom. And you have to teach them that this is how I make my money. And you need to wait till I'm off this phone call because this is me negotiating a deal or talking to a client.
Yeah.
And I need to focus on this. And you need to just wait till I'm done with this call. And then you can talk to me.
Yeah.
And then just the time, like I work a lot of weekends and my kids are used to it now. They're like, oh, are you working this weekend? Oh, you have an open house, because it's programmed into their brain now,
Yeah.
you know. But when they're younger, I probably balanced it more and it was mixed in with taking them to the park or doing activities or other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But I also think it's important to let your kids see you work and
Yeah.
hustle, and it teaches them work ethic and what, modeling, so they can model after me and go like, oh, okay, I need to work hard like my mom did.
And I've met two out of the three. Great kids, by the way. I mean, good head on their shoulders. Like credit to you. I mean, you did a
Thank you.
great job because
They're
I
all
can say
very
that.
different too, different personalities.
Yeah, no, they're great kids. Uh, well, what did you do before real estate?
So I stayed home for 7 years. I was very lucky and I was able to do that. And I stayed home for 7 years. Before that, I was in finance. So I worked for Smith Barney and I worked for Merrill Lynch. And before that, I was in banking for about 8 years. So I had kind of that financial
Yeah,
background before I got into this, and customer service, because um, Merrill Lynch and Smith Barney are brokerage firms, not this kind of brokerage, stock and bonds
yeah.
brokerage. And it was customer service and it was higher end because you're dealing with a lot of money. And it was, taking calls and how can I help you, and opening accounts and making transfers and looking up information. And so it was dealing with people. So I've always worked with
Yeah.
people, every job ever, banking too. So it's always been a people oriented business. So when I stayed home, I think I was like, what job can I do where I don't have to be in the office at 7 a.m.? Because if you work for a brokerage firm, the stock market opens at 6, so you
Yeah.
need to be in there at 7. And I knew I always loved real estate, so I decided, well, I was staying at home, let me get my license, and I studied and I passed the test first try. I think because of my finance background helped a little bit. Um, and then I actually joined Keller Williams over here, and then I joined Keller Williams and PV, and then I kind of moved around a bit, and now I'm back here.
Yeah. Well, welcome back.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, was it just the early mornings that made you not want to go back to finance? Was there something else that said, you know what, let me try something different
Well,
instead of
because
contract?
a lot of us, when we get into real estate, think like, let me go into real estate because it's flexible.
Right.
So you really, your business takes off and then you really don't have that kind of flexibility. It is. I mean, you can still set your schedule. I don't wake up early. I usually we come in the office about 9 or 10, but we stay later and we work on the weekend. So if you looked at how many hours we work, we definitely work more than a 40-hour week. Plus, it never stops because your phone rings at home, you get an
Yeah.
email at home, you get a phone call on vacation, and you have to take those calls. You can't ignore your clients or put it off till later, because real estate can be high stress for buyers and
Yeah.
sellers. And if you're not answering that call to kind of alleviate their worries and concerns, they're not going to be happy.
So I like that's very interesting. I like that. You look at it as, well, it's such a high stress thing for us. We're seeing it every day. For them, once or
Yeah,
twice in their
they're not
lives.
doing it that
Yeah.
often. Yeah, we're doing it every day. So for us, it's like, oh, it's no big deal. But for buyers and sellers, and we were talking about different personalities. Some people get very, very stressed out, and some people take it in stride. And you, as an agent, kind of learn to differentiate people's personality types and what sort of communication they need. And we try to tailor our communication to what they need so that they don't feel like you're not contacting them, or they don't feel like you're not, doing your job and you're keeping them in the loop of everything that's going on.
So where would you say your personality style is, your personality type versus most of your clients? How do you handle that communication wise, conflict wise? Like, tell me more about that, and maybe even there's an example out there where you had something like that. Because I mean, for me, I mean, and maybe even some agents out there, we're thinking everybody must think like us. Everybody must solve problems like we do,
Yeah, they
but
don't.
it's obviously very different.
They don't. What's funny is I actually had another team leader at KWPV a long time ago, and she said something that stuck with me. And it was, take your feelings out of it. It's not about us. It's not about proving we're right or wrong. What does our client want us to do? So I always try to remember that. And I explain the different scenarios to a client, like, here's what could happen. How would you like me to handle it? These are our options. You tell me what you feel comfortable with. And if they say, well, what do you think I should do? Okay, here is my advice. This is what I would do. But especially if you have a client that gives you a lot of pushback,
Yeah.
and you start hearing keywords that make you think they don't really believe me, or they think I'm just trying to get a sale, then I take a bigger step back and I say, you let me know how you would like me to handle this. Here's our options so that they feel like
Yeah.
they're in control of the transaction, and it's their decisions, and it should be their
Yeah, that
decisions.
makes sense.
We're trying to guide them. Some people want more hands-on guidance, and some people want to feel like they're in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So it's
And
figuring that out.
and you've been working with Karen Anderson for how long?
I think like I want to say 6 or 7 years now.
So how did that happen? How did that start?
Um, I had been on a couple teams before, and honestly, it didn't work out too well. As a lot of agents, the reason we're good agents is we have strong personalities. That's part of being an agent and being able to talk to people. And we used to call it type A. Now it's like a high D or,
Yeah, yeah.
So sometimes you mesh with people and sometimes you don't. Karen, I had met her when I was doing some deals, and she reached out to me and she's like, "Hey, I think you would be good on my team." And I was like, "Okay, I think that could help me out too. Here are my conditions and what is important to me," because I didn't want to be just a buyer's agent. I was like, I've already been in the business X amount of years. I don't want to be limited. I want to have growth and know that, I'm going to continue to grow as an agent and I can do every kind of transaction I want to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, that was important, and she was willing to do that. And so now I'm actually almost mostly a listing agent, and
Yeah.
it's funny because it wasn't anything intentional. I didn't try to be mostly a listing agent, but I think if you've been in business longer, after you've represented a lot of buyers and they've bought and sold houses, eventually those people are going to sell a house. So who are they going to call if you're staying in contact with them? They're going to call you. And then your business kind of transitions into, more listings, or maybe listings and then they buy, or it just kind of, goes like that.
All right. Well, I'm not going to ask you what your entire day like, or from morning till evening, but I'm always interested in agents' mornings, like really what they do in the morning time, what they focus on. Is it structured? Are there boundaries? Are there things that are must do's in the mornings? Even it could be a silly habit or just something that you just feel like I got to do in the mornings. Lead gen, activity. What does Lee's mornings look like?
I'll be honest, I'm not super regimented, and we are blessed to be very busy. So usually it's like, what is right in front of me? What
Yeah.
issues do I need to deal with? What's happening in the transactions that I have? Who needs to be called? What contingencies are coming up, And then like we're doing home prep right now. I'm about to go on vacation, so I'm checking on the workers for the home prep. Where's it at? When's this being installed? Did this get finished? And all those sort of things. And we talked about home prep. We
Yeah.
don't just go send the workers over there and let them do it. We have to go and
Yeah.
check on the work and make sure and what happens and did this problem come up and how do we fix it? Because now no renovation, remodel, anything happens without things coming up unexpected. And so you
Yeah.
have to go, okay, now we have to solve this other problem and get another worker in here. In the meantime, the client's texting me going, what's the status? And
Yeah.
so I'm updating those clients and everything.
Well, we just had Lee and Karen in our team meeting this past Tuesday, really talking about that. I invited them to, have a little panel session because the work that they do, almost every time I come to your office and I'm like, oh, so what are you guys up to? It's like, oh,
We're running around like maniacs.
we just help painters, or we're boxing things, we're moving around furniture, and I'm always like, wow, you guys are like really
We're just
hands-on.
full service. We say full service
Yeah.
or concierge service. And I think that's how we have felt you can differentiate yourself from other agents. So if you're competing against, as a listing agent, if you go to an interview and you're competing with three other agents, what are you bringing to the table that's different than those agents? And so for Karen, especially how she's modeled her business, and I pretty much do things the same. And that's why I worked well on her team, because we follow the same model. And it's really be of service to your client. And we were talking about personalities. Sometimes sellers have a hard time taking those first steps. And we have gone and helped people box up their house because mentally they just can't start the process
Yeah.
and it's overwhelming and they don't know where to start. So even if
Yeah.
you just do 10 boxes with them, it gets the ball rolling. Mentally, they start moving forward and it gets the process moving.
And what I see that happening too is knowing how to make things easy
Yeah,
for the
just
clients.
alleviating some of that stress and helping them. And we do it all the time. So we're like, oh, don't you know you do this? But for them, they haven't moved in 10, 15
Yeah.
years and it feels overwhelming. So, it's just kind of those little things that we feel differentiates us and sets a level of service that's important, because I don't want to just go, you know, sell a house and make a commission and the person doesn't remember me. We want to be memorable and we want them to feel like they had a good service experience with them because we want those referrals and repeat business from them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are really in the thick of things. You guys are seeing the listings coming in. You guys are seeing what buyers are looking for. I'm always curious about what agents like you are, thinking about the future, looking ahead. Not necessarily what's the market going to look like, because I mean, who knows? I mean, anything can
Yeah.
happen, but I mean, where do you see real estate agents, especially if someone just got their license, like what should they be anticipating in the next couple of years, whether it's something that they should be doing, they should be focusing on? I mean, I think clearly a lot of things have changed over the last, just 3 to 5 years
Yeah.
since the
Things are
pandemic.
always changing based on the economy, the political atmosphere, everything. The funny thing is, like, I have a buyer right now who, when I very first met him, he's like, well, I want to buy, but the market's about to crash. And this is just like
Yeah.
3 weeks ago. And I go, I've been in business, almost 16 years. Do you know I've heard that this whole 16
Yeah.
years? And I'm like, the reality is the market's always going to go up and down. And this is what I tell people. We can't predict it, but you do need a place to live. And as long as you're not going to sell your house in 2 years, you're not going to have a loss. We're never going to have the crash of the market that we had before because we don't have the same scenarios that caused that crash. There's much more legal things in place to prevent that, like mortgages with zero down. That's really what caused the crash before. Because it made it easy for people to walk away because they had no skin in their house. They had
Right.
no equity. So I'm just going to walk away and not pay this mortgage. And that's what contributed to the crash. And if you can talk people through that, it helps them because if you watch the news all the time, I don't watch the news. It's so negative. And the news is always going to be information to make you watch it. So,
Yeah, of
and
course.
if you watch it, you're always going to hear the market's going to crash and the economy's bad and jobs are low and
Yeah.
so
Things are looking
things
great. That
are
doesn't
always
get
like that.
ratings.
So
That doesn't
things
get
are always
ratings.
like
Yeah.
that, and people are always still buying and selling homes, no matter what. Sometimes it might be a little slower. Last year was actually a little slow for us, but this year picked up like crazy for us. So I know some agents might be struggling a little bit right now, but the business is good right now. So if you put yourself out there, you will get business pretty easily, I would
Well,
say.
take me back to the beginning because I mean, did business just come for you right away?
No,
Was it
no.
easy?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
what were the
hard. I
struggles?
do tell people who want to get a real estate license, this is not an easy job. And you're a salesperson, and you have to understand that it's not about knowing how to buy and sell a home, and it's not about liking real estate. It's selling, and you have to be in that mindset that you talk to people and you're good at having those conversations. And I don't go into it, we don't, as Karen would say, have commission breath. We go into it like, how can I help this person and how can I show them value, so that they feel like, oh, I want her to help me because I see she knows what she's talking about. So one thing I was thinking about last night when I was like, I don't know what we're just going to ask me about, but when I first started, I did a lot of open houses, and that's how I met a lot of clients. And it's the best, fastest way that you can get in front of people who are actively looking to buy and sell.
Yeah.
And sure, you could sit at an open house and only have two people come in, but it's a numbers game. And the more open houses you do, and the more people you're in front of, the more opportunities you're going to have to convert those people. For me, it's about the conversations I have that connect to people and resonate with them. And that's why they're like, okay, I want her to help me. And part of it is like before, now I know pretty well, but before I used to do open houses, I would always look at the comps, know the neighborhood,
Yeah.
look at the other houses, because when people come in the open house, they're going to say like, oh, well, I saw the house on XYZ street. And you need to know what house they're talking about for
Yeah.
them to believe that you know the neighborhood and you're the neighborhood expert and you can give them good advice. So kind of understanding where you are, what neighborhood, the
Yeah.
schools before you go do an open house. Just don't go and show up and think you're going to talk to people and they're going to believe you. Do some research, look at what's in the
Yeah.
market so that you can have good, knowledgeable conversations with people.
I just don't do an open house being a tour guide.
Yeah, like, oh, here's a bedroom.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that.
Yeah.
And also for safety as women, like, and Karen always worries about this with me, but I never follow anybody upstairs. I always have doors open, unlocked, everything's unlocked, and I don't do that. I don't go, here's a bedroom and here's a bathroom. I will point out to them the features of the
Right.
house, but I let people walk through and then, hey, do you have any questions? What did you think of the house? How long have you guys been looking? What are you looking for? are you working with an agent? I do ask that question
Yeah.
because I'm not going to waste my time if they're already working with somebody, you know? Oh, best
So
of
you're
luck if you
asking,
are.
and you're asking the questions.
Yeah.
You're not just telling them, "Hey, here's what's great." You're not a, I mean, no offense to used car salesman, but you're not selling used cars.
No.
You're actually building a relationship. You're finding out the needs. You're finding out the
Rapport.
goal.
You're building
Yeah,
rapport because people trust people that they feel like they're communicating with,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, now what's interesting is, I mean, I still want to go back a little bit to, I mean, we're talking about conversations, but it's also reminding me, I mean, the way that you service your clients. I mean, kind of getting dirty, like with all
Oh
like
no, we
with
get dirty.
yeah.
Physically. Physically,
But
yeah.
we're in a time when a lot of agents, even like the newer agents and even the more seasoned agents, are trying to adapt to doing more things with AI, more technology. Let's just, but it seems like you still have a real strong foothold in the old-fashioned way of doing business. Let's say,
Because in the end, it's about face to face.
yeah,
And I have heard a lot of stuff like people don't want to watch you in an AI video. They want to feel like you're a real person. They, you know, because some people don't trust AI. They have
yeah.
these weird, people have all kind of weird conceptions, but a lot of people feel like, you know, they want to know they're dealing with a real person that really understands what they're doing and is knowledgeable.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, what do you think? You think just the old-fashioned way, the old
A
school,
mix, a
like,
mix. So even for us, like, and we need to work on, we have this great little studio here. We need to work on video. So, um, you can post pictures all you want on Instagram. It doesn't convert to people. They might look at it and go, that's a pretty house, but we don't get a lot of leads that way. From everything I've learned, because I'm always learning and always trying to grow, because you can't stop or you will get left behind, is you need to be doing video.
yeah.
So, and it doesn't have to be long video. It can be short, quick, little. You're great at it, honestly. You're constantly doing video, but that's how you need to put yourself out there if you really want to be on social media and those sort of things and
I
try
think
to
it's
convert your
easier
people.
for people to connect. They see your personality,
Yeah,
they see who you are.
yeah.
People like to work with who they like.
Yes, who they
Yeah,
like, exactly.
yeah, exactly. And now, okay, so now take me to where's, because yesterday we had this, grand opening party here. I was sharing with everybody too. Look, I mean, you've been in the business for a long time. Karen's been in the business for a long time. But I also saw yesterday, and just like what we're going through now, is even a new beginning for even bigger things to happen. Like this is a start of something big.
Yeah.
Like, what is your vision, and what do you where do you see this team going? Where do you see this business going? Where do you see you going in the next 5 years?
I think for me, I have, you know, personal goals and then you know, have team goals. And I would say luckily we're blessed to pretty much stay consistent. So it's always like, okay, then how do we get up to the next step? And then we've been working with you a lot trying to set up systems and be more regimented about certain things because sometimes when you get busy, you drop everything else. And then you're like, I'll get back to that later. And you really can't. You have to keep up all the stuff that you're
Yeah,
doing. So that's how you got the business, even when you're busy.
yeah.
So it's kind of balancing all that. And that means sometimes bringing people onto the team who can help you with the stuff that you no longer have time to do, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now I get this question asked a lot, and I was really wanting to ask you this because it's about teams, especially newer agents. They get their license, they do their own little research. They know that real estate agents can now join a team where they can be a solo agent.
Yeah.
And also, too, I mean, you've been in the business for, I mean, longer than I have, like 16 years.
16
Yeah,
years,
a little
yeah.
bit longer than I have. And you're on a team. You're not a solo agent. So there's also this conception that teams are for newer agents that are just trying to get started in business.
Well,
What keeps you on a team?
yeah.
What would you advise someone else on team versus going solo?
I think because I mentioned I have been on other teams. And so for me, and that's why I had very specific conversations with Karen before joining as to what are my personal goals. And I don't want to be limited. I don't want to be put in a box. I want to be able to do everything. And as a newer agent, you might
Yeah,
not get that opportunity. I'll be real. I
right.
have experience. So usually when you start, you are going to be a buyer's agent, but guess what? You're going to be meeting buyers all the time at open houses and stuff like that anyway. And you might think listings are easier, but the way we do listings, it's it's a lot of work. So either way, you know, it's work. And I enjoy buyers. I'm happy to like we never turn away a buyer. We have
Yeah,
buyers too.
yeah,
But we just end up doing mostly listings. But if I was talking to a newer agent, honestly, I would recommend they join a team because it is the quickest way to get into the business and be given leads that are already there and given the opportunity for open houses because you're every weekend you're like, oh, well, who can I ask? Who can I try to get an open house from? But if you're on a team, we have open houses every single weekend, you know, and we have leads that you can call. So I think to me, that's a great way to start out. It doesn't have to be your forever goal, but if the team is a good team, they will let you grow in the team,
Yeah.
you know, and you're not going to feel like, oh, I'm giving up a bunch of commission and I'm not getting enough in return. The return is usually you're going to get more transactions than you would have gotten on your own. So you're getting more volume, maybe a little bit less commission, but the volume should make up for, the splits that you have to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always look at a team is the question is, does the team create a big enough world? Is it growing with the team members growing?
Yeah.
There's got to be room for the team members to grow in it as well.
That's exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
There has to, because that's when you have people leave. If people feel like they can't grow, and they're being stifled or they're not really doing what they want to be doing, then they're going to leave the team.
And I will say too, I mean, you guys have been great with giving open house opportunities to our agents in, Palos Verdes.
Usually we do it. Even
Yeah.
even Karen, we personally do them a lot. And I think Karen is kind of realizing, like, I don't personally have to do every open house. Let me let some of these other people do it. But we would prefer to have somebody on our team do it, because then that's brings money back to our team.
Yeah.
But because we have so many, we're like, we have to get we have to get help. So we have been giving the office opportunities to come in and help us out.
Yeah.
And so, like that too, like if you want those open house opportunities, the best way is when you do it for another agent, make sure to give them all the feedback you get, let them know how many people came through, really make sure when you leave the house it's locked up, and give all that feedback to the listing agent. And they'll be like, okay, I like this agent. I'm going to let them do more open houses for me, because I can go back to my seller and say, here's what happened at the open house today,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what's important to them.
Yeah. Well, Leigh, I mean, great interview, great answers. I hope you guys all enjoyed it too. Every time I sit with an agent like this, I always feel like I walked away learning, and I definitely learned a lot from you. And I just really value this relationship. I mean, reach out to Leigh. I mean, and Karen, and it's a great
We're
office here.
always, it's funny because somebody once said they thought I was intimidating, but we are really down to earth. And anytime anybody wants to come up and ask us questions, like, feel free. We are happy to help anybody, honestly, and,
Yeah.
and share our knowledge.
No, you guys are great. And Leigh, thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your Friday and get a great weekend. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Great work.
Good.
That was it.